Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and I'm joined by my good friend and my co-host, Devin. And today we are taking a trip down to the Sparrow/Umbrella Academy, because we're going to be talking about Umbrella Academy Season 3 that will be dropping on Netflix June 22nd. So as of this recording, it should be out by the day that it is dropping on Netflix. This is going to be a spoiler-free review for everyone out there. So worry not about spoilers. You know, we kind of just want to keep it nice and clean for you guys here today. So before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at FilmOptix. That is Optix with an X. Or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, we're almost here on a Friday, recording on a Thursday. How's your day been?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm just waiting to go to Infinity and Beyond tonight. Get some Lightyear in my life.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Lightyear comes out this weekend. So I've been hearing really great things about it, and I'm very, very pumped to check it out myself as well. So we will be covering that here on the show for everyone out there listening. So do anything fun today? Kind of just worked? Hit the gym yet? You just chilling?
Yesterday was the gym day. I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for now. Just seems like a nice, easy start.
Yeah, I actually like that a lot as well. You know, that way you're not going 5 days a week. You know, you can relax your muscles depending on what you're trying to work out on. You know, burn those calories while doing it and just having a great time. So I know what you mean there, man. It's been crazy. So, man, oh man, I feel like the year has only just begun. There's so much TV to watch out there, and with everything that's going on with like the Umbrella Academy for season 3, I think it is quite possibly one of the better seasons. But, you know, Netflix has been pumping out a lot of stuff between Stranger Things and this, and I think Spiderhead drops as well as like there's just a lot of TV to watch. Like I can't remember the last time we actually had this much to watch, like this halfway through the year when it came to TV at least, or movies, but it really feels like there's always something to watch and I'm here for it. So Devin, enough chitter chatter. Are you ready to drop into this review? Are you ready to visit the Sparrow Academy?
Yes, right where we left off season 2. Crew of loudmouth heroes.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to be right back after this introduction to the Umbrella Academy Season 3.
This isn't your home.
What are you talking about? This is the Umbrella Academy.
This is the Sparrow Academy.
Shit.
When we jumped here, we created a time paradox. Our little paradox brought forth a freaking Kugelblitz.
What the hell is a Kugelblitz?
Essentially, we're screwed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard a little snippet of the trailer from Umbrella Academy Season 3. The creator of this show is Steve Blackman, as well as Jerry Slater, who I believe is accredited for the comics of the Umbrella Academy, and stars Elliot Page, Tom Hopper, and David Castañeda, just to name a few. This cast always seems to be forever growing, but it always feels small and contained at the same time. So as I mentioned before, this is our spoiler-free review of Umbrella Academy Season 3. So I'm actually going to pass it over to Devin so he can give his initial thoughts of what he thought, because he just finished it last night. Very, very proud of this man for pushing through. Devin, what are your thoughts on this season?
Yeah, it was a full 10 episodes. I want to say every episode was right around 50 minutes. Definitely a lot to digest there, but being in this world, it doesn't feel like you're really watching for that long because it's just such a fun place to be. another great entry into the series, the season overall. They did a great job of introducing and incorporating the Sparrow Academy into the Umbrella Academy's lives and like intertwining them and the different interactions between those characters and introducing us to them. They also did a great job of kind of transitioning Vanya's character into what is now known as Victor. We won't get into specific details, but it's just really cool to see a show where they could do that so flawlessly, because there's not many shows out there where a change like that could be done so easily, and it just seems natural and comfortable for everybody involved, especially Elliot. So I'm glad they were able to do that, because Netflix doesn't have the best history of friendly content towards that group of people, specifically Dave Chappelle's stand-ups recently. But I'm glad they kind of stepped up here and were able to show that in such a good light. Yeah, definitely a great, entertaining season. We won't get into the specifics, but for me, the finale left a little bit to be desired. Not a lot to talk about in the finale, I feel like, but definitely will be excited. Hopefully, this show doesn't succumb to the Netflix 3-season curse, because it feels like every show they have isn't Stranger Things gets canceled after 3 seasons. So hopefully we'll get a 4th at least.
I definitely agree with you there. For my initial reactions, before we just dig a little bit deeper, I thought season 3 of this show is probably it's one of the best comic book adaptations, I feel. Much like Doom Patrol, this is what this show really reminds me of, where, you know, you have the heroes and the powers, but they use them sparingly throughout the entire series, just overall. So, you know, we do get a glimpse of their powers here and there, but it is more about the depth and nuance of these characters. And I feel like season 3 really just hits the ground running, to be completely honest. You know, it feels as if this is literally like a direct sequel to season 2. I know that sounds a little weird, because it's like, obviously, you know, the events of season 3 happen after the events of season 2, but this is literally, you know, like no time has passed between the season finale of season 2 and the season premiere of season 3. So, you know, we get to see the Umbrella Academy interact with the Sparrow Academy. And, you know, they get into a little bit of a tiff here and there. You know, everyone's kind of confused with what's going on. You know, they just saved the world like 2 days prior, twice within like a 20-day time span. So, you know, it's always forever moving. But I feel like it immediately immerses you into, you know, the story's premise for season 3. I feel like Elliot Page and the rest of the cast really continue to give these characters a lot of additional depths and nuances, like I mentioned before. And I think it makes the season worth watching. You know, like you said, Devin, you know, we can't get into specifics, but the way that they handle Victor's transformation, I thought was very, very beautiful. And they made it make sense. Like, it wasn't just, oh, you know, pop, here's Victor. Like, there's an actual meaning behind it. And the writing for the show is like so wonderfully done when it comes to, you know, fleshing out these characters, especially Victor, who continues to be one of my probably my favorite character. But I don't know, Klaus is giving him a run for his money this season, I will say.
I'm actually curious, like I would ask the writers if, like, how far back they knew they might make this writing change for the show. Obviously, they were probably in contact with Elliot Page throughout the writing process, but I wonder if in season 2 they kind of like laid those. They started with her relationship to kind of lay down the foundation for that change.
Yeah, I wonder as well, because I'm not sure when Ellen, you know, went through the transformation of Elliot. I'm sure that she or he has had told them probably prior. But I'm not sure when, because I can't remember when Elliot came, you know, into being to the world. I can't remember when it was, but it was obviously between seasons 2 and season 3. But that's a very good question. I'm not sure if they kind of knew that from the beginning, or, you know, they just had the opportunity to say, hey, you know, we can write it this way. You know, there's probably tons of drafts and whatnot, you know, in the writing room when it came to that. And I wonder how much in hand that Elliot had with Victor, but definitely one of just probably, my favorite character of the show. You know, everyone else kind of, you know, has their moments, you know, Diego and Five, Klaus.
Yeah, for me, Klaus is definitely number one. I mean, if they want to give Klaus a spinoff, like there's not much I wouldn't watch him do. Like there could be a show of him just going like running errands, like going to Home Depot, and it would be entertaining because of how good he is in that role.
I will say, I mean, as much as I did enjoy Luther's journey this season, he still continues to be probably my least favorite of the Hargraves of the Umbrella Academy. I'm not entirely sure why. It's just, I feel like it's just always has been that way. But, you know, there's, you know, in episode 1, you know, it's, you know, when the Umbrella Academy meets the Sparrow Academy, you know, there's, you know, Diego starts hallucinating and it just kicks off from there. And I was like, it was
such a great start.
Great start. I was like, this is fantastic. You know, we've been talking about musicals all this week. You know, they got The Boys, the musical, for the newest episode. We've been talking about Looney Tunes musical, and now there's talks of Joker 2 being a musical as well. It's just singing all around. I love it. It's just a great time. Like I said, the closest show that I could probably relate this to would be Doom Patrol, just because there's a lot of similarities when it comes to, you know, the characters, the depth of the characters, and having that father figure that always had the best intentions, who didn't always have the best intentions, for them in mind. So it's very similar but different.
It's definitely similar in the weirdness between those two shows. Definitely, on the weirder end.
For sure. Did you watch season 3 of Doom Patrol?
I still have not. I don't remember where I left off.
You didn't even watch season 2. That's right. You didn't.
I think I'm like midway through.
Okay. Yeah, because you didn't want to start no, I think you started season. Yeah, you did start season 2. But it was the ending of season 2 is the premiere of season 3 because of COVID, what happened there. So, okay, yeah, you get a pass for now, but a pass for now for sure. But yeah, definitely. I mean, like I love Diego's character development. You know, they really, I feel like what season 2 did so well, you know, everyone had their own separate stories that they're going through, but I feel like, you know, this is them actually coming back together, and, you know, they're inside of pretty much just one location the entire time, inside of this hotel, which really feels like a character in and of itself, for sure. But it is something, you know, it's all about, you know, saving the world all over again. But I really just enjoy the moments that we got. You know, there's a lot of serious moments. There's a lot of funny moments as well. You know, the entire show kind of handles around time travel as well. So it's like, you know, I kind of want to touch on what you talked about, Devin, about this being the 3rd season of Umbrella Academy and the Netflix curse, I guess you could call it. I really hope that we get a 4th season. I could see them going maybe at least 4 seasons. I'm not sure if they would do 5, but, you know, it's like you said, any show like outside of Stranger Things, when it comes to these new formats of, you know, these drama shows that aren't sitcoms, because a lot of sitcoms on Netflix do get like 4, 5, 6 seasons, but I don't really count those as much, because those are kind of just, you know, you watch for 24 minutes or, you know, you're done with it. It doesn't have a lot of story there. You know, it's for the laughs and comedic effects. But I really hope that Umbrella Academy continues, because it is one of my favorite comic book adaptation shows outside of Marvel and DC. I really just enjoy these characters and, you know, the familial bonds that this entire show kind of, you know, hammers with, like the trials and tribulations of, you know, family ties and family bonds and what it means to be family. and just everything that comes with that, the good and the bad. Sometimes, you know, the old saying goes, you know, you don't have to like your family, but you do have to love them. And I feel like this season specifically speaks a lot to that. So I think it's fantastic, but I'll pass it back over here to Devin if there's anything he wanted to bring up before we close out here for a spoiler review of Umbrella Academy Season 3.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I think the greatest strength of this season was definitely just giving time to each character to develop. Like every character in the family, 1 through 7, gets their time to shine, and it feels pretty even amongst them all, which is definitely difficult to do. It helps when you have a full 10 episodes that are all 50 plus minutes long. It definitely helps when you have that much time to work with. But I just really enjoy how each character gets more fleshed out this season, and there's not really anyone that gets left behind that I can think of. They all kind of get their time to shine, and it's really entertaining to watch. Well, one other negative I was going to bring up, and I don't know if it was just because we got an early screener, but some of the CGI was really rough, specifically the powers.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back and rewatch a few episodes because that was probably the smallest gripe that I had. And I'm glad you brought that up, Devin, because that totally slipped my mind. But yeah, I will say, you know, when it comes to TV, I mean, I don't expect a lot from Netflix. I mean, it's like you said, you know, everything is about Stranger Things. Like clearly that Netflix poured a lot of money into Stranger Things. I would have to say that, yeah, the CGI effects, usually when it comes to screeners, sometimes depending, they're not either always finished or sometimes that might just be the end all be all. But, you know, in some instances it looked great, especially with, you know, Victor's powers. We've, you know, kind of known that for a while. But with others, it is a bit iffy, but it's definitely not the worst. It's like almost passable. But yeah, I think that's always been a weakness when it comes to these TV shows for like the superhero side that aren't as grounded, you know, the ones that do deal with time travel and, you know, these super crazy wonky adventures, much like I said with Doom Patrol. It could be hit or miss. So I think Doom Patrol does a little bit better of a job depending on the person's powers. But yeah, I do agree with you there. That was probably only my only real negative that I had. It's weird because, you know, we get these, it's, you know, Marvel's conditioning us to watch these 6-episode, you know, series, but it feels like a breath of fresh air when we finally get more because, you know, I was hitting like episode 6. I'm like, oh, there's not that much left. I'm like, well, there's actually 4 more episodes left versus 6. So I was really happy about that for sure.
Yeah, it's nice how consistent this series has been. Where you're getting 10 episodes each season, and they're all going to be really long, around 50 to an hour. It's really consistent. You know what to expect.
Yeah, and I would say even story-wise, I mean, between what we've seen of The Boys, I mean, I love The Boys. I absolutely love The Boys, but it does have a lot of issues. I would actually say overall, like when it comes to storytelling, I think Umbrella Academy is actually superior when it comes to actual storytelling. When it comes to like the entertainment side and, you know, the bloodbaths and everything else, especially the CGI, I think The Boys has that for sure because
yeah, it's not even close for CGI.
Yeah, for sure. Like the CGI for The Boys it's phenomenal for a TV show for sure. And it's, I don't know, sometimes it makes me wonder because I mean, Netflix has a lot of money, but also, I'm fearing that this show, or at least this series, is going to get buried because it drops on June 22nd. So if you're listening to this on June 22nd, there's a new episode of Obi-Wan that's out, which is a series finale of that miniseries, and a new episode of Miss Marvel, which will be the halfway point for episode 3 because there's only 6 episodes for that. And not only that, Devin, but by the time people are listening to this, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness will also be on Disney Plus. And I feel like this show is going to get buried so far down that Netflix is going to look at it and say, oh, well, you know, we're just going to nix it after season 3. Netflix, please, please, please. We appreciate the screeners and whatnot, but please do not, throw this to the wayside. I'm really enjoying this story. And, if they want to wrap it up with season 4, like I said before, I would be totally okay with that. It's just, I'm really praying that they don't cancel this at all, because it's such a good story. And, these characters are so interesting. It's fun to see them bicker and to, fight and save the world through these crazy, weird, technicalities, or, barely by the skin of their teeth. And I really hope that people watch season 3, because, I love Netflix to death, but sometimes I feel like a lot of things get buried. More so than others, especially, I'm not sure if you watch Peaky Blinders, Devin, but did you know season 6 of Peaky Blinders is out on Netflix?
I did see that it was out, and it's on the list. I don't know, I might watch it at some point, but 6 seasons is a lot. I feel like when you get that far behind, it's just so tough to dive in on any show.
Yeah, I think I'm going to. Unlike with Barry's like a cool, 30 minutes per.
Yeah, sitcoms are so easy. You just breeze through sitcoms.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I'm rewatching Seinfeld for like the 5th time. Just, having it on the background like I've mentioned in previous episodes. But so let's get into our ratings here, and then we'll kind of close on out. I feel like we've already gone through our, thoughts of this entire series. At least spoiler free wise. We are thinking about doing a spoiler free episode of Umbrella Academy season 3. So definitely keep a lookout for us on Twitter. That's usually when we'll kind of announce certain things coming up. But Devin, what would you give Umbrella Academy season 3?
Season 3, I'm thinking overall, I mentioned the issues I have with it, but definitely another strong season for this series. I'm going with an 82. Like, there definitely is room for improvement, and I feel like given enough time and possibly even more budget from Netflix, that this show could be even better than it already is. And it already is really entertaining because of the cast and the characters that they have to work with. So, yeah, definitely another entertaining and solid entry.
All right. So you said 82. I'm going to give this a solid, I think on Serialized, I gave it a 4 out of 5. So that would be between, I would actually just give this a solid 90. Overall, it's, there are issues with this show that unfortunately we weren't able to dig too deep into. But, the main one was just, the CGI. But like you, Devin, I really enjoy when, a new season comes out, because it's all about the characters. It's all about the writing. There isn't as much action in these seasons, but I feel like this season there was a good balance of both. But like you just said, with the CGI, if they just invest just a little bit more money, it could look like really, really good. Like, it doesn't have to look like Avengers level or whatnot, like, DC or like Marvel theater movie level. But for TV, I feel like we've come such a long way. We've come such a long way when it comes to these episodes with, big budget TV spectacular phenomenons. Like Game of Thrones really showed us what a big budget TV show could do. And I feel like the Umbrella Academy can be one of those shows. And I hope it continues. I believe season 2 is coming out on Blu-ray, which I'm really excited about. Definitely going to pick that up when I have the chance, because I really enjoy when Netflix actually gives their shows physical releases, because, I feel like we'll never have Netflix forever, but it just really depends on what they do as a company later on. But yeah, overall, just a solid 90 for me. It's not perfect, but like it's pretty freaking amazing. So that wraps up our spoiler-free review of Umbrella Academy Season 3. So definitely go watch it if you haven't already. It is a fantastic ride. And if you like what you hear on the show, please, please, please subscribe to us. to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform of choice. And make sure to share an episode of our podcast with a friend, whether it be your mother, your brother, your lover. Make sure to share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. So really quick, what's coming up on the podcast? Our Miss Marvel episode 2 review is out in the wild for people to go listen to. We're also going to be reviewing, as we mentioned earlier, Pixar's Lightyear. So that will be dropping on Monday, June 20th. And next week, of course, we have Miss Marvel episode 3 that we'll be covering, and as well as the Obi-Wan Kenobi season finale. So we're going to be covering parts 4 through 6 for Obi-Wan Kenobi, kind of lumping those all together, just trying to give ourselves a bit of a breather because, unfortunately, Disney loves to, mix Marvel and Star Wars on the same day when, Fridays are right there, but it is what it is. But those are just a few things that are coming up on the podcast, and that pretty much covers it. And we hope you guys have a great start to your week. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.